Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, demote me and cut my hours during my grandmother's funeral. Enjoy losing your 7-figure contract. No, we didn't have your car towed. Car doing donuts for almost 2 years, finally got them towed. Bash me online. Here's a failing grade instead. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Demote me and cut my hours during my grandmother's funeral. Enjoy losing your 7-figure contract. About 15 years ago, I was working as a security supervisor patrolling the parking lot for a major store chain in Valley, Alabama. My brother calls it the Big Blue Insane Asylum. I had been with this company about 3 years and got paid decently and didn't have many issues there. My boss was a bit of a jerk, so I'll call him Richard. He ran 2 other sites, one in Auburn, which for those unaware, is a major college town, and the other in the neighboring city. My site was a bit of an afterthought but came with the contract. Also tied in were 3 stores in nearby Columbus, Georgia, and a store in Phoenix City, Alabama. Totaled, the contracts were worth well over 7 figures. Well, Richard loaded the staff with his friends and family, and I was one of maybe 2 that wasn't family, and he really didn't like me, but he had no reason to fire me. I worked there for about a year. The site had issues with vandalism and theft, but with some policies I put in place we turned it into a fairly safe store. 2 days after Christmas we got the call we were dreading. My grandmother in New Jersey was dying and only had days to live. I tried calling Richard, but as was usual, he refused to answer my call, so I called the district manager. He told me I had 2 weeks of PTO saved up that I could take as much time as I wanted. I knew the moment he talked to Richard that I'd get a call, but I didn't want to deal with him, so my wife answered. He insisted that I only had 4 days of bereavement leave per company policy, but she told him that the DM already approved me to use PTO. Richard scoffed and said, "We'll see." Fast forward, only my mother, brother, and I could make the trip. My wife's boss advanced her $500 so I could book a plane ticket to return home early and get back to work. Side note, I was working 2 jobs, this and a part-time job at a radio station. I had only been there about 3 months. More on that later. We made it to see Grandma an hour before she passed away. Made the arrangements, sent the DM and Richard the obituary with the time and date of the funeral. The day of the funeral comes, worst day of my life, made even worse by what happened next. The service is done, we're heading to the dinner at the fire department. My entire family were firefighters, even my mother and I was for 10 years. I turn on my phone and it buzzes with a voicemail. "Hey there, it's Richard. I'm sorry to do this now, but I had to fill your position while you were gone. Unfortunately, you exceeded the 4 days bereavement leave. But I can use you to fill in, so just give me a call when you get home." I was fuming, but thankfully the fire department had an open bar, so I just got wasted. I flew home on New Year's Eve and went straight to the radio station to work. Later, I called the district manager and was told unfortunately his hands were tied because Richard had convinced the operations manager to give him complete control over the sites. Now, unleash my revenge. Richard called me in to cover the college store, but only for 4 hours. The gears were turning. See, I had become good friends with the store manager where I had worked, and I found out that they were in jeopardy of losing the contract, which was worth millions to the company, for leaving the site uncovered due to officers getting caught sleeping, showing up late, and at times leaving after clocking in and only coming back for the last 30 minutes. My wife drops me off and I tell her not to leave. I have a plan. 10 minutes into my 4-hour shift, I park the pickup in the middle of the lot, leave it running, lock all the keys and equipment in the truck and leave. 3.5 hours later Richard calls furious, demanding to know what I was doing. I politely tell him, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. F asterisk 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 you, I quit." And hung up. I found out a week later that during the 3+ hours with nobody covering the site, 2 vehicles were broken into, one right in front of the pickup, 1 stolen car and 3 shoplifters. This was the last straw and not only cost them this contract, but the contract in nearby Columbus/Phoenix City. Extra revenge. A little over a year later, I'm the site chief at a new company and an application comes across my desk with Richard's name on it. I have my captain call him in for an interview. He walks in, I smile the biggest smile, say, "Hi there Richard, remember me?" The look on his face when he saw me was priceless. He didn't say a word, he just turned and walked out. P.S. The radio station I worked at treated me like gold. Not only did they pay me for the time I was gone, but the owner called me into her office and handed me a check for $600 to cover my plane ticket plus a little extra. It's amazing how a company that you worked for only 3 months can treat you better than the one you worked with for 3 years. No, we didn't have your car towed. My grandparents lived in a college town. Quite close to campus, and right among the fraternity and sorority houses. Often they would find cars parked in their driveway. One time though, they found a car parked on their front lawn. They attempted to call to have it towed, but the tow trucks were busy towing more egregious violators. Turns out though, that with a sufficient quantity of college-age grandsons, cars can be removed from lawns, without the aid of a tow truck. It also turns out that the police, upon finding a car blocking a street, will call a tow truck, and it will come. Very late that night, someone knocked on the door to ask if they knew where their car was. Car doing donuts for almost 2 years, finally got them towed. I live next to a large, busy, 4-way stop sign in a residential area. There's been a car that does burnouts and donuts for the past 1.5 years. At first it was just burnouts once every few months. He does it at the 4-way stop until the air is filled with smoke, then he screeches off. It's loud and disruptive, but nothing we can do since cops don't come and he's gone by the time they do. It's extremely infuriating since I work from home and have meetings. He does this at odd hours, waking everyone up at 5 to 7 a.m., after work around 5 to 6 p.m. He got bolder and bolder over the year and started doing donuts and averages once a week. Not just one round but take over Tokyo Drift style, round and round for a few minutes and sometimes comes back for seconds and thirds 5 to 10 minutes apart. There were a few close calls where he almost hit parked cars, so the neighbors park further away now. I've called the non-emergency line multiple times, each time saying they'll come patrol but zero improvement. After one of many calls, I finally got a nice cop who gave me his name/direct contact and said he's aware as others have reported it and has the plates to ticket him. One day, the car did it again and I snapped. I decided to report each one individually since no improvement. Just my luck, the car did his back-to-back donuts, about 15 minutes apart. Each time I reported it on the spot so they can hear how loud it is. By the third time the same lady picked up and said, "Yes I know, we just spoke," in an annoyed tone, kind of glad tbh, so she understands my pain. Later that same day, I got a call from another officer who let me know they towed his car and will be keeping it for a while. I can finally sleep peacefully and leave my windows open at night. Bash me online. Here's a failing grade instead. Back in college I had a friend, Alexa. We were in the same history class. We had a project and we were divided into teams where we choose who's our members. The project was to either make a papier-mâché version of any structure that represents your country, or make a video about the country you were assigned to. My team was assigned China. I already had a side passion for video editing, so I already made plans for my team to come to my house to record a short film. I knew everyone in my team including Alexa had different class schedule through the week, so meeting each other might have been a challenge. I knew majority had Wednesday off, so I just told them to meet me Wednesday and anyone who were busy that day to just contact me so I can just film them separately whenever they are free. As long as they make an appearance in the film, then they have a grade. So a lot of my team went over my house and we had a fun time acting and hanging out. We miraculously finished the entire script all in one day. Only a few people couldn't attend, including Alexa, since they had class at the time. I of course told them to just meet me whenever they are free. I received a message from Alexa asking if we finished the project. I had said yes, but to not worry since I would add lines for her so that she'll have a grade. She told me never mind instead and that she'll just join the other groups. I was persistent in persuading her to just stick to our team since we were basically almost finished rather than having to make a paper-maché project. I received a message from my other friend the next day basically saying how Alexa was secretly bashing me in all her social medias. Facebook story, Twitter, Instagram, etc. She stated how I was a fake friend. Her BF was also bashing me too. I was so confused because I didn't even know what I did wrong. I was super upset because instead of communicating her problem with me privately, she had to go publicly with her posts. My teachers are active on social medias, so they saw everything too. I tried to just not make a scene and just ask her what's wrong, but she would ignore me. I was very salty and turned petty, which I know I shouldn't have, and called every single member from her group to just join our group and they'll do less work since we were done with it already. Note, they barely even started with the paper-maché. So her team became just her and her BF. She didn't finish in time and had a bad grade. Are we friends now? Nah. But I already moved on and made small talk with her to kinda show her that I don't see anymore. You know that sibling thing, after a fight they just make small talk, but not apologize. She never apologized to me, but I think she learned her lesson. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.